Hello, David Zritsky for the Bond Experience. Welcome back. So there are times in the running of this Bond Experience channel where I get an influx of emails, of texts, of people reaching out saying, David, what's your opinion on this? What's your opinion on that? And very often, hand on heart, I tend to ignore them just because this isn't a channel where I really take requests. But when it's become sort of a crescendo in the Bond community, sometimes I do feel like I should respond just to provide my opinion, not to change opinions and not to sway behaviors one way or the other, but just to say, this is how I'm feeling about this certain thing. And the certain thing I'm referring to is a discussion that Barbara Broccoli had with a journal that basically stated, in a nutshell, I'm not going to quote exactly, that there's a long road ahead for the next Bond film, Bond 26, and that we haven't really got started on reinventing Bond and doing the things that it takes to get a movie completed. And everybody took that, and I won't say everybody, that's an extreme statement. Many people took that and they commented on it that, oh my gosh, it's going to be forever. How could they not get started? And what do they mean by reinventing? There were a lot of things that they picked apart, if you will. So I wanted to comment on this and give my opinion. And there's a lot of different ways that I could approach this, but let me just, as if you were sitting in front of me, you've pulled up a drink, I've asked you into my collection area, and I say, hey, we should talk about this whole quote from Barbara Broccoli. So that's how I'm going to do it. I'm just going to kind of talk to you, if that's okay. So let me start off in the beginning, if you have no patience for these videos, by giving you kind of the high level, and then I'll back it up with details. My high level comment on this is that I don't think it's anything to react to. I don't. I think it was a comment. I think it was a very innocent comment. I don't think there's anything hidden inside the comment other than truly, and we should take her for her word, Barbara Broccoli saying we haven't started on this, that means they haven't started on it. And I get it that we're all scratching our heads like, didn't the last film finish in 2019? But to me, when I think about creating anything, and I think we lose sight that the creators of Bond, they are artists. We lose that. I mean, it's a company, it's a business, I get it, right? They're in the business to be in business and to make movies. But at the heart of it, they're artists as well. And artists have to be passionate about what they do. Passion creates motivation, creates action. So just focus on that algorithm for a second. When I woke up this morning, I had to be passionate about making this video. And then that passion burned like coal, and it turned into motivation. And that motivation said, you know what, I'll set up some lighting, I'll put on a t-shirt, I'll put on a kind of a space age watch just for giggles. And then the action, which is me doing this video and then putting beginning and end, editing a little bit, and then posting it, right? That's the action. Passion, motivation, action. So I believe that the passion, people are like, maybe they're not passionate about James Bond anymore. I think the passion is still with them. I think it's with Ian. I think it's with Barbara. I think it's with Michael G. I think it's with Greg. Greg, they're really highlighting as kind of, I believe, the new way forward, the new breed, and good, because I want to hear his opinion. I mean, when there's a Q&A and Greg has something to say, I actually want to hear that a little bit more than even other things, because that's kind of the new synapse fire that we want to be a part of, because that's the new way forward. So I believe the passion is there. From a motivation standpoint, the motivation has a lot of parts and pieces that we don't realize. Like for me, it was easy, right? I mean, I set up my phone, I set up a little sound, and then I'm off to the races. There are so many nuances to this movie making that they have to take a look at. They have partners they have to think about. They have to think about taxation. They have to think about locations. They have to think about writers. They have to think about strikes. I mean, there's more things, there's more asteroids coming at them than red carpets, meaning there's more obstacles in their way to make a movie and to do this. And then you have the whole recreation or reinvention of Bond. Now, this is the only area where, here's the little magic wand wish list. I'm hoping, I wish, here's the magic wand, that they don't reinvent the different tropes and aspects that we love about Bond. But I don't think that they will. They never have. They've reinvented some of the different surround sound and some of the different scenarios of Bond, but they haven't said, you know something, we're going to neutralize the way he drinks a martini, or that he's badass, or rough and tumble, or he gets through. And so I have high hopes that the motivation to reinvent is really around the environment, the storytelling that they put him in, or even Bond's reactions, which could be more like Fleming, could be a little bit more like the Roger Moore, pithy. They could be reinventing it to be more humorous as opposed to Daniel Craig, who was a little bit more rough and tumble and serious. So I take that as a potential positive. Now, the motivation has to translate to action, and action leans very heavily on all those different criteria that I talked about. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about on this is what puts me to sleep at night. So I don't walk around, thinking on a daily basis, oh my gosh, this is the end of the earth. This is the worst thing that happened to the Bond community. What are we going to do? Because you can, right? That's a choice. And many of you have embraced that choice of accepting this or thinking of this or reading into it as something very negative, like people are resting on their laurels. But think about what that negativity does for you. Even if you believe it, think about it for a second. You're walking around with that negativity, and it does eat away at you. And I know I'm speaking a little philosophical. It sounds like one of my podcasts as opposed to a video, but it's true. And as I get older, 55, as I get older, I realize that being positive about something or being negative very often is a choice. It's very often not based on fact or data. We have no facts. We have no hard proof that Barbara Broccoli has begun or has not begun. So we've got to take her word for it, and we say it's not begun. Okay. But we have no facts beyond that. So if we have no facts, what we're basing everything on is our worst nightmares and speculation. And speculation is usually negative. It is. It just is, because we're humans, and we're rubbernecking an accident. Oh gosh, how bad is the gore? We tend to do that as humans, and some cultures tend to do that more than other cultures. So if you're going to look at that as a negative, you're going to see the negative. Now, I didn't walk away from Barbara Broccoli's quotes and information. I read it. I read it a couple times like everybody else. I'm a human. I didn't walk away with it as incredibly positive. I didn't go like, oh, this is great news, because obviously I want it all started. I mean, I'm a fan. I would love to read some movie news or hear about a launch or any kind of press pieces, whatever. But I'm also not walking around thinking like this is the doom and gloom. There's a lot of things to be positive about. The fact that Eon continues to allow the Bond fan community to celebrate the franchise. That is huge. That is a reason to be very positive. We can have events and galas and all these things. And it is something that we've done. We've created this ribbon of positivity in the Bond community that cannot be stopped. I'm going to say it, we're a bit of a juggernaut. And this is something that has flourished out of the absence sometimes of news, of movies, because we are creating our own positivity. Some of the events that I've seen or been a part of or witnessed or attended this past year in 2023 have been so positive, brought people together, people who were going through divorces, people who had lost jobs, people who were ill or sick or going through COVID and just felt lost. And the Bond community was a way to create positivity and move that forward. So hearing news like it's going to take more time just translates to me that we've got more time to create our own experiences. It's not a plug. I'm just telling you. It's an opportunity for us to be creative. I don't think I would be as creative in my channel if all I was doing every day was reporting on the movie sets or something like that. I mean, I've had to be incredibly creative to come up with new videos like this all the time. So all I'm saying is, my opinion, not trying to thwart it upon you, is that I'm not taking it as a negative. It's a moment in time. And it also says we have more time. We have more time to create these positive moments. Or you could choose to say, I'm going to do a video, or I'm going to do a moment where I'm going to post something about how horrible this news is, and how dare they, and why aren't they giving us another movie sooner? You can choose to do that. Life is about choices. I'm going to choose not to do that. I also believe that Amazon coming out with their 007 Road to Million, it's more than just a sweet distraction for an hour or two. I think it's something I'm looking forward to, but it's not a gap filler either. I know some people have said it's a nice way to fill the gap. There are a million ways to fill the gap with James Bond. We're doing one right now. You've had 10 minutes of gap fill right now in this video. So there's so many things, people coming out with new podcasts and new ways to collect and rewatching the movies, and the list goes on. I've done so many videos on it, so I'm not going to turn this one into a what can you do in the meantime. But the Amazon aspect is really a nice way to maybe think of Bond in a slightly different way. So you've got this reality base where Bond fans become a part of a reality world of James Bond. That sounds highly intriguing to me. So I'll be there front row to watch this. So to me, there's more positive than negative. And I'm not trying to be kumbaya. No one's fronting me to say this. But I'm taking that for two reasons. Number one, I truly believe it. And number two, I choose to approach it from a positive standpoint because it's better for me. It's better for my passion with James Bond. I mean, once I turn this into a negative filter and a negative approach, it's kind of over for me because I can't walk through life. I can't talk to you and smile and show teeth in a genuine way if I'm not excited and passionate about what things are doing. And Eon is the center. It just is. Eon is the centerpiece of everything that's happening in the world of Bond with new official content or new merchandise or new movies or what Amazon does. So I think I think I need to be as supportive as I can be when I hear these type of quotes and say, when there is something, there is something. I didn't expect, and I don't expect, any news about a movie for a long time. So if you get that expectation in your head, if you put that positive filter on and look around you and just be grateful for all the things that we have and can do today, as opposed to a year or 3 years from now, whenever a movie comes out, I'm telling you, you're going to find that crumb of happiness. And that's what I'm choosing to do in reaction to this video. So that is my reaction to the reactions of this reactionary quote. Is that right? Did I get that? I'm sure I flubbed that up. Anyway, there you go. A little bit of a diatribe. Thanks for listening to me. I thought I would comment on it. All right. Deep breath, David. I'm going to ask you to comment below. I do actually read every single comment. I may not respond because it gets voluminous and, there's a life. But I will read every single one. What's your comment? How do you feel about it? Yes, your opinion matters, even if it's totally against mine. I don't hold it against you. So this has been David Zaritsky. For the Bond experience, I'm going to actually go find something positive to do. Look at me go. I'm going to walk the walk and not just talk the talk. I'll talk to you later, though. Cheers. Bye. Thanks for watching this episode. If you want to be up on the latest from the Bond experience, just click on this subscribe and subscribe to our channel. You're going to get all the latest and greatest information, plus some exclusive content. And by the way, speaking of content, here's something especially for you, just because we know you. Talk to you soon.